5 of the world's top professional triathletes. But I want to point out two things. This is a landmark race. We have the first World Championships ever held here in Canada. Also, this is the first event in the history of the sport that can officially use the term Olympic distance.
Thanks, Stephen. Now, let's get down to the starting line. It's a typical August day in the Okanagan, hot and clear. The athletes are waiting on the starting line for the swim to begin, and we have a very, very large field of top men professional and female professional athletes here today.
We certainly do, and included in that field today, we're going to have the defending world champion, Richard Wells of New Zealand. He's the man we're going to expect to be out there after the swim. He's the man who won Nice last year, and also Scott Molina, the man known as the Terminator. He's won here in Kelowna the past 2 years in the Kelowna Apple Triathlon. Also in the field, Scott Tinley, the man who was first in the New Zealand Ironman this year and second in Japan. And Mike Pick, the reigning USTS national champion. He's the man they all fear and the pre-race favorite. He's only lost a couple of races in the past year, and one of those was to this man, Stephen Foster of Australia, who won a couple of weeks ago in Chicago. Also in the field, we do have the 5-time world champion, Mark Allen, who won last weekend in Vancouver at the Vancouver International Triathlon, beating Pig by just 18 seconds. And the women's winner of that race, Erin Baker, racing for the first time in Canada. She raced a few weeks ago in Provo, Utah, her first race in North America, but she lost that race to Sylviane Pontus, one of the Pontus twins. Sylviane and Patricia have won 25 races over the past few years, including the Ironman, where they placed 1 and 2 in 1984 and 85. Colleen Cannon also in the field. Colleen Cannon second in Vancouver last weekend, but this lady has won in Nice before in the World Championships in 1984.
Thanks, Stephen. We're ready at the starting line now for the start of this.
They have Brett Marshall.
Swim leg. Who's this coming out of the water?
It looks like it's Richard Wells, the defending champion. He's coming out 17.5 minutes, but just behind him, his fellow countryman, Brett Marshall there. These guys are going for the preems.
And here's Mike Big.
He's in the second group. They're about 50 seconds behind our top 3 men there, but he'll make up a lot of time on the bike. There's another group there. They're coming out around 19 minutes.
And this is an area where they will be able to try to make up some time. This is the transition area where they take off their wetsuits, get on their bikes. The shoes are already locked into the pedals. They head out. Here's Scott Molina.
And just opposite Scott, you can see there the man going out on the bike, Stephen Foster, the Australian champion. But Scott Molina seems to be taking his time somewhat. We must remember that the transition area is in fact the 4th discipline when it comes to a triathlon. These triathletes practice hard at this to cut down every second out of the swim. In front there is Carol Pickard, the Australian. Behind her, Zena Herman in second place. And their time, just over 19 minutes, a phenomenal time. In third place is Shannon Delaney, just coming into view there, and you may have heard some people yelling, "Come on, Joanne," because in 4th place, just seconds behind these 3 ladies, is the local triathlete Joanne Ritchie, doing extremely well at this point.
And Carol Pickard now moving quickly in the transition area. She's first out on the bike.
But back with the men, you see the man at the top of your screen there is Mike Pick, making his way through the field. He came out of the water in 7th place. He's now gone into 6th. And there is Stephen Foster from Australia, the Aussie champion and the man who placed in the top 3 in the Vancouver International Triathlon last week. He's just taken Brett Marshall too. He's a man they're going to fear out there. The Australian's number 1. But out front, Mike Pigg. Look at him go. There's the chasing group, the second pack there. A few meters aside of each other. Don't forget, they've got to watch out for any drafting infractions.
And here's Joanne Ritchie. She's looking strong here. She's already out in front of Erin Baker. She must have, what, a minute on her by now?
I think she has, but this is a big surprise. Don't forget, Joanne's been out of the sport for over 2 years. She's had a baby. We haven't seen much of her. She's been training hard, but I'm really surprised to see her ahead of this lady, the 1987 world champion, Erin Baker.
The world. The Kelowna Championships have attracted a very strong field. And veteran Scott Tinley says the race has a new edge this year.
Well, it's always been a really good race, really well organized, and just a real pleasure to come to. It's a little bit more hyped up, a little more action intensity this year because of the World Championship status. But nevertheless, the people of Kelowna have come out in force, and I'm looking forward to it.
There's the 5th place man, Stephen Foster from Australia, moving up. Just ahead of him, Richard Brown from Ontario, the first Canadian right now. And in 3rd position, we see Kenny Glar. This is the man who placed 3rd last weekend in the VIT, and the winner of the VIT there in 2nd place, Mark Allen, known as the Grip, the 5-time world champion from Nice. You see now have broken away from the chasing group. That is Mark Allen up top, and next to him we see Kenny Glar, a member of the Foxcatcher team. We saw these two in Vancouver last weekend. Mark Allen won, Kenny Glar third. The man in second place was the man leading presently. That's Mike Pigg. But understand there's a real titanic struggle now going on in the ladies' race between Joanne Ritchie, who you see there, and Erin Baker in second place.
Stephen, Joanne's been training hard, but I don't think anybody expected she should be doing quite as well as this at this stage in the race. It's incredible.
It certainly is. But there's a great battle taking place in the chasing group. There's Glenn Cook from England, the European short course champion. John Hillerman from New Zealand there. And there's Stephen Foster of Australia, the man who beat Pigg in Chicago a couple of weeks ago. Just ahead of him, Scott Tinney on the right, and Brad Kearns, one of the world's top biathletes, on the left. Just ahead of them, we have a few more men. There on the right, you see Richard Brown, Canada's leading triathlete at this point. There's Kenny Glarn. To the left of Kenny, we have Mark Allen. You see Mike Pigg again checking out the time that he's got between him and that chasing pack. But he's well clear now. We understand it's almost a minute and a half he's got ahead. So some phenomenal biking here. Mike Pigg has done about 55 minutes before on a 40-kilometer course, and here he comes into the transition area.
At this point, Stephen, Mike Pigg has got a total time on the course of 1 hour, 14 minutes, and 36 seconds. He's done very well on the bike.
He certainly has. That breaks down to a 55-minute and 26-second split for the 40K bike portion. That's averaging over 27 miles an hour. But look how quickly he's changing into his running shoes. He'll get rid of that cycling helmet, and he's off and running already with 10Ks of running ahead of him. But he'll be asking the question, just how far are those guys behind him? We will see them very soon.
And here they are. It's an incredible crush. There must be about 10 riders all packed in here. They're running about a minute and a half behind Mike Pigg, and they're pushing hard.
And here come our first two ladies. It's Erin Baker and Joanne Ritchie. Just meters separating the two of them. They come in with an overall time, 1:23 minutes plus. Back to our leading man. It is Mike Pigg striding away out there. He knows he's got a minute and a half on these two men, Glenn Cook and Mark Allen. Mike Pigg, we have the three men who have broken away from the chasing group. And there is Mike Pigg. You can see him start to look behind. He wants to see where he's at right now. He hasn't got too far to go. And we'll be right back with the Reebok World Triathlon Championships after this. Of this race, and battling out in second and third places, we have Mark Allen and Stephen Foster. But there's our leader, Mike Pigg. He's looking behind him to see the distance between him and Allen. He thinks he's got it in the bag. I think he knows what he has to do to win this one today. But here you can see the battle between these two in second and third places. They've been running sub 32 minutes for this final 10 kilometers. Looking behind, and there's Glenn Cook in fourth place.
And Mike Pigg still pushing hard in the final seconds of this race. He knows he can't let them get any closer.
Let's hear it from Mike Pigg as he comes down with just about 120 meters left to go. The 1988 World Short Course Champion here in Kelowna is number 3, Mike Pigg to Mark Kelly to California, with Mark Allen in second place. And here he comes up to the line. There's Mike Pigg, Mark Allen and Stephen Foster, but here comes our winner, the St. Clair champion. He's taken it all today, 1:47.23 unofficially. And here comes Mark Allen popping down the line. This is the man known as the Clip, the man who won the PRT last weekend, the 5-time Nice World Champion, being chased all the way to the line by Stephen Foster of Australia. Way to go, Steve. Mark Allen just finishes 1:47.41, 1:47.44 for Stephen Foster. And here comes Glenn Cook of England, the first European to be finishing here at the World Championships from London, England. Glenn Cook, the European Short Course Champion, 1:47.56 unofficially. Coming in now, number 11, this is Kenny Glar from Westchester, Pennsylvania, a member of the Foxcatcher team. First in Guatemala, first in Mexico, first in Israel, and fifth place here today in Kelowna at the World Champions. And here comes the first lady who's going to be the 1988 Reebok World Short Course Triathlon Champion. It is the 1987 champion with a repeat performance, Erin Baker from Christchurch, New Zealand. Let's hear it for her. Ranked number 1 in the world, the winner of Ironman, 9:35 was her time. First in Vancouver last weekend, first in the second in Provo, Here she comes up, hits the line. 2:01.31 unofficially for Erin Baker of New Zealand. Here comes Joanne Ritchie. Way to go, Joanne. Tremendous job, isn't it great? You've got a number 2 in the world right now coming up to the line, Joanne Ritchie. Tremendous job here from Joanne. Way to go. Kelowna must be very pleased with it. Just ahead of Joanne, Rock Boy from Stony Plain, Alberta. Joanne's time, 2:03.22. And her husband there just takes her in his arms. He is a very proud man. Way to go, Joanne. What a performance. She is absolutely delighted. Second to Erin Baker.
What made the difference today?
Getting away quickly on the bike.
Who pushed you the hardest today?
Joanne Ritchie, you know? I didn't know who she was. Unbelievable. I mean, she's got a child. Incredible.
Mike Stephen.
They certainly were. Now, women's winner Erin Baker with the first sub-2 hour clocking for a woman, 1:59.33. In second place, Joanne Ritchie, 2:01.24. And in third place, Sylvie-Anne Puntus, 2:02.42.
And a tight battle for the men. Mike Pigg, of course, the champion, 1:47.26. In second place, Mark Allen at 1:47.42. And in third place, Stephen Foster at 1:47.47. So from Kelowna, British Columbia, Canada,
I'm Steve King.
and I'm Morris Bridge, and this has been the 1988 Reebok World Triathlon Championships.
The run hurt, but not too bad. It's funny when you're winning or doing well, there's no pain.